With the rates of student anxiety and stress dramatically rising with each year that passes, I wasn't surprised that most of those who I came into contact with when I was at Coffea on Rose Street on the University of Kentucky's campus were stressed out students who are looking for a quiet place to study. With a nationwide increase of student anxiety in the last decade, university counseling centers have been stepping up and doing everything they can to help out their students. Someone with years of experience treating students struggling with stress and anxiety is senior staff psychologist Dr. Nathaniel Hopkins at the University of Kentucky's Counseling Center. Hopkins sees countless students every day who are seeking help in dealing with their anxiety and stress.
Within the last 5 to 10 years, anxiety in counseling centers, in terms of students coming into counseling centers on college campuses, has gone from the number 2 problem behind depression to pretty easily the number 1 problem.
So what exactly is it that has caused this dramatic increase in the number of students who are suffering from anxiety and who are seeking help? In an interview with PBS NewsHour, Mickey Sharma, who's the director of the Office of Student Life Counseling at Ohio State University, addressed why he believes more students have been taking advantage of college counseling centers.
I think the stigma regarding mental health has decreased locally here at Ohio State and nationally across the country. Students are more apt to reach out and meet with a counselor when they're struggling with things.
In regards to the stigma around mental health and anxiety in particular, the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology, and Neuroscience found in March of 2013 that the most effective way to reduce discrimination and prejudice of mental health is through personal contact with people with mental health problems. Dr. Hopkins at the University of Kentucky's Counseling Center agrees with this.
I think we've also seen that college students are more and more likely to have experience either themselves with seeking treatment or know people who sought treatment. And that really fights the stigma. So if your roommate has been in therapy, or your best friend has been in therapy, or you were on meds in high school, it becomes a whole lot harder to pretend that doesn't exist.
Not only are students in today's society more willing to ask for help when needed, they are also faced with more stressors and triggers to anxiety that students in past generations didn't have to worry about as much. Stiff competition for openings in educational programs, jobs, and increased social pressures are all common reasons students feel anxiety and stress. When I was at Coffea, I spoke with freshman Carly Orlando, who is in the College of Nursing, and she touched on what she is facing as a freshman in this competitive program.
The College of Nursing is very competitive, so you have to really make sure your GPA is high, so you have to really work hard to keep it up. And it's really hard to juggle schoolwork with social events like being in a sorority, which I'm in, which is really hard for me to do.
We have students in this generation that are working and growing up in a very fast-paced society. There's additional stressors, more things that they're carrying on their shoulders, and there's an increase in the anxiety that we see in students.
This anxiety that so many are struggling with today isn't just worrying or having a lot on your mind like some people think it is. It's a real issue and can have an extremely negative toll on a person's mindset and quality of life.
When we see anxiety get to a level that's really problematic for people, often there's a lot of rumination. So just going over those thoughts over and over and over and over and over in your head. So one of the things that we see pretty regularly is people having trouble sleeping, and particularly getting to sleep. So they're just spending hours sometimes lying in bed or avoiding going to sleep because they're spending all that time thinking instead of being able to calm down and relax their brain and turn things off and fall asleep.
I'm very overwhelmed. It's sometimes it's too much. There'll be times when I can't sleep because I'll just be thinking about all the stuff that I have to do, and I freak out.
Something that goes hand in hand with anxiety is avoidance. This avoidance is one of the reasons that the cycle of anxiety is so hard to break. Dr. Hopkins often explained this idea by using the analogy of a lion.
It's like being in the jungle or on a plane with a big scary animal. If I walk up to a lion, my body says, "Run away, it's a lion, it's going to eat you." And if I run away, then my fear says, "See, I was helpful, I was useful, I saved your life." And that makes the fear stronger.
So if fear is only making the issue worse, how exactly does one go about combating the so-called lion that Hopkins referred to?
If I walk up to the lion and I pet it and the lion doesn't eat me, then my fear saying, "Oh, you need to run away," doesn't have much basis, and it gets smaller. So when people have anxiety, they tend to avoid, and that unfortunately tends to build their anxiety. And we can walk you up to that lion and you can pet the lion and not get bitten, then that really reduces your anxiety over time.
University counseling centers offer a plethora of options in terms of treatments that students can choose from when seeking help so that they can get the best treatment possible. Just like no two students are the same, no two cases of anxiety are the same, and the staff at counseling centers work with the students to help them find the best treatment options available for them.
What we're doing is providing short-term treatment and on a time-limited basis at many centers so that we're able to provide students and reach as many students as possible. Additionally, many centers have evolved into providing a menu of service options. So the majority of what we do is individual counseling, but there's a lot of group counseling that we offer, as well as drop-in workshops to get coping strategies, better stress management strategies in the hands of as many students as possible.
Carly Orlando is no stranger to stress and anxiety, and although she hasn't sought help from the university's counseling center, she has some small rituals that help to ease her anxiety. One of those ways is by coming to coffee shops like Coffea to study or work on assignments.
I think it's actually really relaxing to sit in a coffee shop with like a nice warm cup of coffee, like working on a paper, just being able to kind of relax. It's like all the decorations at the coffee shop. It's very like soothing.
The earth-like tone and ambiance of Coffea is something that many students really enjoy being around. It helps to give them something to look at and put their mind at ease when they're struggling with stress, which can be a great help to soothing anxiety in relation to schoolwork. With a dramatic increase in the number of students suffering from anxiety, having small things to ease their anxiety, like a special place to study, can be the difference between succumbing to their anxiety or being able to push through it.
Is providing support to students so that they can come to the university, be successful, graduate, earn their degree, and launch their career.
With the tremendous increase in the rates of student anxiety in such a short period of time, many people are afraid rates will only continue to rise in the future. With increased competition, demand, and societal pressures on students, it's important to think ahead and figure out some sort of preventative measures we can take to halt the rising in rates. When I asked Dr. Hopkins about what he thought about the future of anxiety rates, he shined a glimmer of hope into the bleak state we are in now.
I think if it can become more of an issue that quickly in that short of a time span, then probably there are things going on in how we educate young people, what our societal mindset is at a given time. I don't know that we have the answers as to why that shift has taken place, but if it can take place in one direction, I don't see why it couldn't take place back in the other direction.